like having a dream right here in front of your face, and then just one little pebble just break up the whole mirror, and everything is just gone.
Some of these girls have never met. They may live in different Caribbean countries, have varying careers, but they all have one thing in common. They were teen mothers. Meet Dr. Marissa Grant. At 27 years old, she's one of the youngest doctors in St. Kitts and Nevis. She works here at the Joseph Nathaniel France General Hospital in Bastille. But for Marissa, this dream of becoming a doctor almost did not become a reality when she became pregnant 10 years ago.
For a long time, I refused to believe that, it was actually a pregnancy. I had early spotting and whatnot have you, and I just told myself that, this was my menstruation, giving me trouble. And I absolutely refused to, look into the fact of perhaps being pregnant. And it wasn't until about 19 weeks into the pregnancy when, my mom approached me.
First, I was a little upset because that's not what I had planned for her. And I called her, we sat, we spoke. At the time her father was off island, so it was the two of us there, so we spoke about it. I said, okay, we'll have to get past it, right? I told her, well, it's not the end of the world. We still could, you still could move forward, but you've got to now play it by the rules that, I had laid out. And she agreed, and so we sat down and decided, on a path that she could still move forward.
That way forward meant Marissa's family had to move from Antigua to St. Kitts so she could go back to school. For in many Caribbean countries, often when a teenage girl becomes pregnant while at school, the community and sometimes school officials are not welcoming for her to remain or to return and complete her education, for fear that she would have a negative influence on the other children. This is so in spite of Caribbean countries having signed and ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, which states that all children have the right to an education. Such was what happened to Kemlyn Cadu, who, like Marissa, also became pregnant as a teen.
They said really nasty things, especially, going to school and going with your baby, and people was like, oh, she going to school, she had child, and going back to school. It was hard, difficult. People said, like, we were really discriminated.
But people in school, they were very cruel to me, and they didn't understand what I was going through.
Recognizing the problems facing the continuing education of teen mothers, Caribbean countries have sought different ways of addressing the issue. Some countries in the Caribbean have sought to deal with the issue by providing evening classes, but usually at the expense of the teen mothers, who often can't afford these opportunities. Over the next few minutes, we will show you how two Eastern Caribbean countries, Grenada and St. Kitts and Nevis, have sought to deal with the issue of the return to school of teen mothers. This is Grenada. Known as the Spice Isle of the Caribbean, this country, like others in the region, has had to deal with the issue of the return to school of teen mothers. In Grenada, there is no formal policy on the return to school of teen mothers, so it's often left at the discretion of school officials to accept them back to school. Nevertheless, one of the ways this country has sought to address the issue is through the establishment in 1995 of the Program for Adolescent Mothers, or PAM as it is commonly known. Located on Montparnasse to St. George's, PAM's mission is to empower teenage mothers and pregnant adolescents through counseling and education about health, parenting, and family planning.
Grenada was part of the Grenada Coalition for the Rights of the Child 20 years ago, I think, when it was set up. And it was out of GNCRC that PAM came, the Programme for Adolescent Mothers, because they did a research project and they found the need for such a programme. And then they asked Grenada if we would manage the programme for them, because GNCRC were just an administration body. So we've been managing it for over 10 years now.
Alva Lawrence runs the PAM program. She supervises about 10 teachers, manages a daycare facility for the teen mothers, and maintains a curriculum for between 15 and 30 students a year.
Yeah, well, this is a 2-year program where they do school leaving and CXC subjects, And we're very much into the parenting issue, that when they come here, we do a lot of work around parenting, and also to really reduce the amount of pregnancies that a young woman will continue. We try to not stop, not try to help them that they don't go on to have a second pregnancy.
Teenage pregnancy is going to be around whatever you tell young people. So I guess my thing is that what we try and do is enable and empower young people to be part of the workforce when they leave PAM, or to be good parents, or to be good enough parents for the young people, whatever. I don't see it as trying to stop teenage pregnancy.
But it's important to engage the men in terms of what is happening, so that they can understand that they have a responsibility to be the father of these children that they have brought into the world.
Unlike in Grenada, where the NGO community has played a major role in the programs for teen mothers, in St. Kitts and Nevis, the government has made a policy decision on the return to school of teen mothers. A program known as Project Viola, officially launched in 2002, is its way of addressing this issue. Deputy Prime Minister Sam Condor says it was important that teen mothers returned to school.
Well, it wasn't done by legislation, it was done by regulation. It was not a parliamentary decision. It was done by cabinet. Cabinet, after considerable discussion on the project, we decided that it was the way to go, and so we had the necessary SNO done in order to make sure that the project is implemented.
Celia Christopher is a senior field officer with the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs. She's been coordinating Project Viola since 2001. The project targets pregnant students or student mothers who've been attending high school. Most of the students are referred by school guidance counselors, health clinic nurses, doctors, families, and members of the community. The student has the choice of continuing in the same school or moving into a new school. Many prefer to stay in their own school.
Some of the programs that have came out of this whole thing was we developed a summer program which lasted for 6 weeks, and we dedicate 2 weeks to classroom lectures, 1 week for self-development and 1 week for career development, and the other 4 weeks for skills training, because we thought that you not only should just